Today I passed back your test, and what you should do is take a look at your answer, take a look at the question, take a look at my answer, and try to see if you can fix your own error. These sentences can't be copied from me, so this video does not serve as a source for you to copy correct answers, but rather to see how I came up with my answers. The terminology that's used in every question is definitely studyable, and you can find resources all over the internet and in our textbook that will help you. If you wish to check out a grammar book, that is totally acceptable. So in sentence number 1 it says, according to the speaker, what is one way in which summer is not so lovely? And we're supposed to look for an adjective or an adverb phrase. Now the word phrase means a group of related words that does not have both a subject and a verb. So we are not allowed to have a subject and a verb in the same group of words. An adjective or an adverb phrase are both types of what are called prepositional phrases. They're prep phrases. And prepositional phrases well, for the most part, fit in the sentence frame, the cat walked blank the box. That works for a lot of them. The cat walked on the box, or in the box, or around the box. But there are a couple of prepositions, that don't work very well with this, and one of them is of. Of is a preposition, but it doesn't work with our sentence frame. Anyway, that means we have to have a phrase that starts with a preposition. I saw a lot of sentences that did not begin with a preposition. People underlined independent clauses. Some people underlined complete sentences like independent clauses. Some people underlined adjective or adverb clauses. Some people even put in infinitive phrases. So just remember, we're looking for prepositional phrases that are used as adjectives or adverbs. So let's look at number 1. Let's look at my answer. Shakespeare describes summer as inconstant and short-lived. So here is a prepositional phrase in his poem. This is an adverb phrase because it tells us where. And then here is another one. As inconstant and short-lived. This is a preposition that is also an adverb because it tells us how. As inconstant and short-lived tells us how he described. And in his poem tells us where he describes. So these both answer adverbial questions. This one tells us how, and this one tells us where. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at words that begin with preposition. These phrases have to begin with prepositions. These are both prepositions, preps. They both also kind of work with our sentence frame. The cat walked as a box. That's kind of weird. That's like if a cat walked like a box walks, or if a cat was wearing a box costume. It still works even if it's a weird sentence. And the cat walked in the box certainly is a preposition. Sentence 2. What is the theme of Sonnet 18? We have to use a complex sentence. Complex sentence. Now, something is a complex sentence if it has what's called a subordinate clause. And if you want to learn more about the different subordinate clauses, you have to look at chapter 4. You absolutely cannot underline something that is an independent clause. So we're not looking for a group of related words that could stand alone as a sentence. Unlike phrase, which we were looking at in number 1, in number 2 we are looking for subject-verb. But we're looking for a subject-verb relationship that cannot stand alone. Here's 2. The theme of Sonnet 18 is, and here we go, that Shakespeare's beloved will live on in his poetry. Here we have the subject, Shakespeare's beloved. Here's our verb, will live, or will live on, and then in his poetry is actually one of these adverb phrases like we saw in number 1. This right here is a subordinate clause, and it is a noun clause. It is a noun clause. that Shakespeare's beloved will live on in his poetry is the predicate nominative. It is after a linking verb. Is a linking verb. I know that because I can put an equal sign there instead. After a linking verb, we can either have a predicate nominative or a predicate adjective. Because this is interchangeable with the subject, I can make this the subject, that Shakespeare's beloved will live on in his poetry. That means that this is a noun, so this is a noun clause. If you're having trouble with clauses, writing clauses, you might want to write a few sample sentences in your notes from chapter 4. There are 3 types of clauses. There are noun clauses, there are adjective clauses, and there are adverb clauses. And if you don't want to check out a book, one thing you can do is you can just go online and search the net for noun clause, adverb clause, and adjective clause. And if you add those to your notes, you'll do much better. 3. Explain one figure of speech in Sonnet 18. Use and label a noun, person, place, or thing, adjective, word that describes a noun or pronoun, adverb, a word that answers these questions: how, where, why, when, to what extent. That's what an adverb does. And adverbs don't describe nouns. Adverbs tell us how things are done, where, why, when, to what extent something is done, but they also describe when, where, why, and to what extent descriptions are relevant, because adverbs can also describe adjectives and other adverbs. We have to use a pronoun as well, a word that takes the place of a noun. Here's my sentence. Shakespeare, there's a noun. Expertly, adverb. Calls, verb. The golden sun, that's a noun. Here's an adjective, golden. I'm not going to relabel these because I already have them. Because the sun looks like, here's our pronoun. Pronoun, that's a pronoun. Watches all like God's eyes. So we have a noun, adverb, verb, adjective, pronoun. So those are all the parts that I found. Adverb is the one that you guys have a lot of trouble with. Adverb and preposition, those are really tough for you guys. Sometimes pronouns too, if you don't know the relative pronouns. 4. What words are used to set the mood in the poem? Identify the subjects, verbs, and direct objects in your response. We're supposed to have a response with the direct object, so if you get yours back and you got it wrong, it might be because you didn't use the direct object or didn't use it correctly. A direct object is not allowed to be part of a prepositional phrase. Here we go. Shakespeare, there's our subject. Uses, there's our verb. Words, there is our direct object. Like lovely and darling, to create lovely and tender moods, we're going to ignore. This is our main subject, verb, and direct object. 5. How would you describe the speaker's tone in Sonnet 18? Use and label a predicate adjective in your response. So a predicate adjective comes after a linking verb. In a sentence with a predicate adjective, you'll start with a subject, then you'll have a linking verb. A linking verb is a verb that can be replaced with an equal sign. The most common linking verbs are forms of be, and this would be words like we're talking about words like is, are, was, and were, and there are others too. But anyway, that's the linking verb. And then after the linking verb, if we put an adjective there, it's called a predicate adjective, PA. This would be Bob is tall. Shakespeare is awesome. This poem is difficult. Shakespeare, subject, is, that's a linking verb because I can replace it with an equal sign. Shakespeare equals triumphant. Triumphant is a predicate adjective. And a little bit arrogant. This is a predicate adjective as well. In Sonnet 18, we saw this up here. In Sonnet 18 is a prepositional phrase. It is an adverb phrase. All right, so here are the questions again. You may want to pause it here and see how you did. Hopefully you're able to correct your answers and you can submit this before the end of the week. Good luck.